Monday, September 9th, 2019.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a prayer by Pastor Hickson from Calvary Baptist.
Let's pray together. Lord, we're here to thank you for another day, for the health and strength to come to work. And I thank you for these individuals who have given themselves to do the work of our county. And I pray that in all of their deliberations today and every day, you give them the strength to do it, give them the sense of duty that helps them to do what's best for the county. And Lord, I pray that the information that they're given in order to make decisions would be adequate and accurate by which they could make wise decisions. And I pray that each one would feel that sense of responsibility that would cause them to act in the best interest of everyone and give them a sense of unity in so doing. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pete, are you up to talking?
Yeah. I know it still sounds a little funny, but
Little.
yeah. It started Wednesday, I don't know why, but
So do you have any issues other than medical issues?
We have a
Um,
public hearing first.
yeah, that's,
Oh, we do?
yeah.
Oh, so we're going to do that first?
Yeah.
He's here.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I guess we want to talk to United Church Homes reissuance of revenue bonds. You want to give us a little background on it, Pete, before he comes up?
Yeah, I think we've already had done some of this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we had already issued some. This is just a refinancing of those bonds.
Correct, in 2015.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm Matt Miller with Ice Miller, the bond counsel firm for the County of Marion on this transaction. But yes, in 2015.
So you're refinancing?
Refinancing, there's going to be some new money involved as well. That's the purpose of the public hearing today, is there's going to be some tax-exempt new money, which the tax code requires us to have a public hearing in the county, which that community resides in.
And this does not affect our, any of our rating, right?
No, we're not responsible for any of it. As a matter of fact, we're not even the host county. It's just that because of the money's going to be used here, some of it's going to be used here. That's why we have to have the public notice and the public hearing. But Marion County is the actual issuer of the bonds.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marion County's the issuer, and Marion County's not on the hook as well, right? United Church Homes is on the obligor on this
Yeah,
debt.
yeah.
So,
Okay. So, what do we have, a resolution then?
We do?
you do?
Want us to read it for you? So
Instead of reading it, could you open a public hearing for, 30 seconds or so, if there's any comment from the public? Yeah.
Okay. So what do I do?
Can I have a motion to call the public hearing to order, please?
Second.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo?
Yes. Thank you for the assistance.
It's got new on me, too.
Is there any public comment regarding the revenue bonds? If not, I'll make a motion, we adjourn the public hearing, or you want to pass a
No,
resolution?
I think you
right
want to
now?
pass a resolution during the public hearing.
Do that.
You're the lawyer, so that's
You
what
can do
we're...
it either way, whatever you guys do.
Let's do it right now.
All right.
While everyone's geared up.
Move for adoption resolution of the Board of Commissioners granting approval of the issuance by the County of Marion, Ohio, of its revenue bonds, a portion of the proceeds of which will be used to finance and refinance facilities owned and operated by United Church Homes Incorporated located within the County of Erie, Ohio, and approving the execution of a public hospital agencies agreement.
Second?
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigo?
Yes.
Right.
So we need to make a motion to adjourn this portion of the public hearing?
Second.
Mr. Shenigo?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, Pete.
Okay. You're going to see up there a letter from the recorder. She's requesting a little bit of a change in her office. She has had a part-time person doing technology work, which has been paid out of her equipment funds. That person has left, and what she's recommending is taking an existing person she has, giving them an increase in pay, but that increase in pay will still come from the equipment fund for the technology work that she does. So it does not affect the general fund budget, and it does not affect her equipment fund budget because they're already set. So I have no problem with it. We did a financial analysis, and so we come up with it. Okay? I will, I know last week we passed that resolution, well, not last week, the week before, certifying the tax rates, because we did have a meeting with the Budget Commission. One of the things out of that meeting was that, that we probably should be seeing tax revenues from the Nexus project, but they haven't got any information from the state, so they did not certify that additional revenue, even though we anticipated it when we put our tax budget numbers together. So what I did ask them, I said, well, when you get the numbers, could you recertify? Okay.
And you actually did in the proposed revenue side of the budget, you put in how much money? Is the guess at this point?
Roughly around 850,000. It was the original number Nexus gave us. Also discussed with the Budget Commission that, the auditor's recommendation at that time was to take 85% of that money and set it aside for one-time expenditures.
Yeah.
And I verified with him that that's how we constructed the tax budget as well,
Okay.
on the expenditure side.
Okay.
So, just so that it's out there, everybody knows. I do have a request here from the Sheriff's Department for a full-time deputy back in the jail. They want to use the monies from the TCAP grant for that.
You guys know about this?
No.
So the TCAP, I think it's like 200, is it 200 and some thousand?
Yeah, I mean, we'll realize maybe 225 or something like that.
And then
Or
we,
between 200, 225, somewhere in there.
and you remember, we split that, Ziggy and the sheriff and
And probation.
probation.
Right.
And the deal is according to what sheriff said, his jail count, so he told me, was up to 140.
Mhm.
So, and the folks that are working back there are, they're understaffed, they need more help. So, the slippery slope, and that's what I told Zig, is we're gonna hire this guy for sure. It's gonna cost us, what, 80 grand a year, probably, once he gets up to speed.
Once it gets up to speed, it's a lot
Right.
less than that initially, but.
Yeah, but in the end, is he ever gonna go away? And, this is the age-old problem of the state saying, oh, here's $250,000 today. And I think it's good for next year, right?
Yeah.
We have a 2-year contract.
Right,
But in the third year, what'll happen is when they take TCAP away, you're still left with all the F5 felons at our jail, and we're gonna end up paying the bill. But Ziggy has assured me that, when I talk to him, guarantees TCAP goes away through attrition, he won't rehire somebody. Is that your understanding too?
yeah, he and I had the exact same discussion, and I made him well aware that, the only way it would be acceptable to us is if the TCAP money went away, that position's gotta go away as well. He felt that through attrition, and if the money went away, that's what he would do.
Does this do anything adult probation-wise,
No,
or is?
No, they got their money already, so.
yeah,
And, I asked him, I asked the sheriff to have his bookkeeper, I said, I'd really like to see from 2000, it was 2012 forward, where we are on employee count over there, and more importantly, where the money's coming from. Because remember, sheriff's done an excellent job at getting, what do you call them, Pete? The people that pay for the deputies?
Well, just call those regular contracts,
Yeah,
but,
probably 8 or 9 deputies out there on contract pay, aren't they?
right, pretty much between here and township and what I want to call the school resource officers and BGSU. Yeah, he's got quite a few other deputies on contract that are paid for.
So he's gonna get us some intel on that, so. So you guys good?
The sheriff called me and told me about this too, so, and I had the same conversation, it sounds like you guys did, so yeah, it's, as long as it's under conditional.
Mhm.
Sounds like he was amenable to me and he was amenable to you, Pete, so that's fine with me.
Okay. That's all I got, gentlemen.
So, I had 2 things. I stopped and talked to these fellas that are working out here on this fiber line, and evidently it must be a fairly small company, because they were gonna have their boss call, who owns the line, and it's not AT&T, it's like Telecom or something like that.
Evercom, I think.
Something, yeah. And it's a guy that's an entrepreneur, building the line, basically. And so I said, well, where are you guys going with it? And they're hooking up to downtown now. And I just had somebody ask me about the internet service downtown is slow, it's unreliable, and, you know, if one person's streaming, the other person's starts spinning slow, and I said, does that fix this? And the guy goes, oh yeah, because it's fiber and it's unlimited, so.
You mean downtown to the office building?
Yeah, well, they're
Or just
going to the
down?
city right now. The city is hooking up to it. That's what they're working on.
offices.
City offices, yeah.
But this isn't gonna impact residents.
At this point, no, but their plans are that they want to, have another provider in our area. But my question to him was, are you guys hooking up to us? And he said he's working with Tim, but not at this time, to hook everything up, engineer's office, this building. We haven't got pricing yet, evidently. Do you know about this story?
Not really, because we already do have that started out as one community connection. Now it's through Ohio Telecom.
Are we hooked up to it now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
have been.
Wonder why he would say that. Is the office building downtown hooked up?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why don't you check into that? Because these guys said no. These are the technicians working.
Well, maybe this is an
Well, yeah, it's
additional
not gonna be hooked up with
line.
them.
Yeah, it's a new line that they're
Yeah,
just
I
now.
mean, but we have an existing lines.
Oh, so maybe this is another line?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, well, that's good. Competition is good, right?
I think it's the same company.
Yeah, I think,
Almost positive it's Ohio Telecom.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think- I
why
think
are they
they're
putting a
just-
second line in?
Just for more, I'm gonna call it bandwidth, it's probably not the right word, but
Yeah.
more juice.
Well, give us tell Tim to come in next time and give us a update on,
Okay.
I think what we're more concerned with is, if this is the same company, or if it's now a third company, because doesn't Buckeye offer internet at a price for this building also? Have we looked at what these 2, possibly 3 quotes comparisons would be? Probably not in a while.
No. No, the only time we've used Buckeye when we've got a kind of a remote location.
Yeah. that's a
Outside of
landfill.
where our fiber's at.
Okay. And then there's a letter going through here today from, I think all of us have talked to a citizen, I'll call him Brian Huntley, that lives on the corner of Bogart and Columbus Avenue. And this is now the second letter that you guys have got. This is the response now from our engineer, John Farshman,
back to Brian Huntley. And Mr. Huntley's very upset because, as he calls it, his land was taken from him on a right-of-way project. And Mr. Farshman goes on to say that we're perfectly within our rights to take the right-of-way land on the road. And now the concern seems to be that they are going to take more of his lawn away and put stones there for the berm. It says, fourth, concerning the installation of berm material along the road, the installation of any material used for roadway construction purposes within the public right-of-way is entirely at our discretion in accordance with accepted transportation design and construction principles. While aggregate may or may not be the material of choice in the opinion of any resident, it is an economical and useful material for use in road construction, including berm material, and thus we will continue to use it as we see fit. So, a couple of thoughts. I did go out and look at it. If you go on Bogart Road, there's a curb there on Mr. Huntley's lawn, stand-up curb. And as I look on the project the engineer's office did on Galloway and Bogart, the new project that they haven't paid the retainage of, there's curbs along there. So when you get to a corner, they normally put curbs. Now in this case, what Mr. Huntley's upset about is that this project's been in the works for, what, a year? I would guess, at least. Nobody bothered to knock on his door and tell him that we're gonna do this and we're gonna take 5 feet of your grass away from you. You know, he said if somebody would have knocked on his door, we could have had a conversation about this. But he said they just showed up one morning and started chewing his lawn away. I don't blame the guy. I mean, you know, hey, what are you doing? And the worker politely told him, I'm gonna call the police if you don't get out of here. So that got him upset. And he says, you know, it's just common courtesy that if you're gonna do something like that, you know, at least have the decency to, you know, send me a letter, smoke signal, something that this project's gonna happen. Secondly, now they're gonna put stones there. Well, like he said, if you drive down Bogart Road, the grass comes right up to Bogart Road everywhere because they're extending the asphalt wider so that you don't have a stone berm. And what this guy, he's sort of a fanatic on his grass. He says, I have the best lawn in Erie County, and it is a nice lawn. He's concerned that if you put stones there, then obviously the stones are gonna end up in his grass. So I just think the whole thing was not handled correctly. It was sort of a cavalier attitude that they told him, we'll do what we want, we're the engineer. And I think at this point, I think the engineer should either consider putting a curb there or at least let the grass go up to him, but at least give him an answer. I don't think this letter is gonna resolve Mr. Huntley's concern by saying that we'll continue to use it as we see fit. So, I mean, Gary, is there anything that Mr. Huntley's recourse as far as prosecutor's office goes?
I spoke to Matt over at the engineer's office after the first letter came. It's a 60-foot right-of-way there. As far as I could tell, everything they're doing is in the county's right-of-way. I mean, people think their private property goes up to the roadway, and typically they're using a pretty good section. Their lawn is typically on some portion of the county's right-of-way.
Sure.
Which they're welcome to do.
Yeah.
But when the county wants to use the right-of-way, it's the county's right-of-way. So legally, there's not much usually that the property owner can do because, in fact, it's the county's right-of-way for the road. They can expand probably the entire right-of-way if they want to.
What about?
From looking at it, it didn't look like they were anywhere near the edge of the right-of-way.
No, they're not, and I explained that to him. The only thing I think that I would question when you start bringing in the other projects that the engineer done. So if you look at Columbus and Strub, look at Galloway and Bogart, they all have curbs when you approach the intersection. I don't know why, but there might be a standard for that. I mean, it's curious.
Because I think there's catch basins and stuff on a lot
No,
of these
not on
intersections.
any of those I looked.
No?
I thought it was draining.
I saw on the Bogart side on Columbus and Bogart there, it looks like the curb goes quite a ways down Bogart.
On his property,
Right,
yep,
well, on the right of way.
on the right of,
Yeah, and then on the Columbus side, it doesn't come nearly as far, the concrete curved area. And I assume the area he's talking about is where the curb stops then, and then it's just the blacktop coming up to his lawn.
right.
I don't even know where they put aggregate in there, but.
Well, that's his
Is he going
concern.
by
There's
or
only
is
this
it
much
now?
left, between the asphalt and his lawn.
Yeah.
They're threatening to go grind some more out and put asphalt in. And I'm thinking, why? In the
I thought
end.
they had the full width.
Huh?
I thought they had the full width they were going now with the new blacktop.
Well, you want to read the letter? That's what it says.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, they're sort of challenging Mr. Huntley that, if you cause any more problems, we're gonna grind some more and put some more stones in there.
We're
And
gonna
I'm
put
like,
another lane in your yard.
yeah, we're gonna put another lane in there. And I just don't understand why it has to be this hard. It's like, and this guy's calling us as the commissioners, and, we gotta feel like a bunch of idiots and say, well, that's not us. What do you mean it's not you? Isn't it the Erie County engineer? And I said, exactly. They are a public official, unbeknownst to us. I mean, we have our challenges with him every day. But in the end, it's his call, right, Pete?
It is.
But I don't understand in public relations of the world, the guy pays taxes in our community. He owns a business in our community, and he takes pride in his lawn. Why do we gotta keep poking him? Can't we I think he'd be happy at this point if you just don't get this berm thing out of the thing and put the grass to it. Can you ask him that question? Because this letter is inflammatory at best.
Yeah, I'd like to get a copy of that. I can talk to somebody over there.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Any other comments from you folks?
It also does say that, as far as advanced timing or warning or notification, that he would re-examine his policies towards doing that.
Okay. All right. You got any more?
Want to do them now? Move for adoption of, or approve the minutes of the August 29th and September 5th commission meetings?
Second.
Mr. Schofter?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigal?
Yes.
Move for adoption resolution of the Board of Commissioners authorizing the county auditor to make a supplemental appropriation?
Second?
Mr. Schofter?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigal?
Yes.
Move for adoption resolution of the Board of Commissioners for executing payment of then and now certification presented by the county auditor pursuant to ORC 570541D1 and authorizing the drawing of warrants and payments of amounts due upon contract or order.
Mr. Schofter?
Yes.
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigal?
Yes.
That's all I have.
That's it.
So what's the story on this federal money coming on the airport? They're not doing it tomorrow.
They are not,
No, it's held up in Washington, the paperwork is.
so they have no idea either when it's coming. It'll be a spur of the moment, last minute thing like we did last time.
So are we just putting our lives on hold?
Yes,
For $3 million, yes.
Great. Public comment? If not, I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schofter?
Yes.
Mr. Shenigal?
Yes.